Welcome to the Addicted Mind Plus, the podcast where recovery, mental health, and wellness take the front seat. I'm Duane Osterlind, and joining me is my co-host, Eric Osterlind, known for his insightful work on the Stuck Brain podcast. In each episode, we'll dive into actionable, small steps to help those in recovery journey further along the path to wellness. Our conversations are designed to be concise, typically around 15 minutes, though we may occasionally delve deeper when the topic demands it. Our goal, to provide you with practical advice grounded in real experiences and expert insights to empower your recovery journey. So whether you're on a break, on a walk, or just taking a moment for yourself, join us as we explore the many facets of recovery and mental health, one small step at a time. This is the Addicted Mind Plus, where your journey to wellness gets an extra boost. So let's get started. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Addicted Mind Plus. I'm with my co-host, Eric Osterlind from the Stuck Brain podcast.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. I'm excited about this topic today.
Yeah, this is definitely in your wheelhouse. I have learned a lot from you about it, so I'm excited you're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how you can take one small step that might have a great bang for your buck, and that is setting a routine and getting out of the chaos seen in early to mid recovery. A lot of times our life is pretty chaotic. It's kind of crazy, and a routine can go a long way in bringing stability. So this is what we're going to talk about today. What setting a good routine consists of, why setting a routine is important, and how it tames the chaos of early and mid recovery. And I would even kind of say even long-term recovery routine is really, really helpful in creating the life we want. A few common myths about setting that routine and some roadblocks and some suggestions on how to avoid them. So let's start, Eric. You're going to take this off because this is definitely in your wheelhouse, and I've learned a lot from you about it. So let's jump in.
Yeah. So first, what is a routine?
Right.
Like, what does that consist of? It just consists of planning your day, usually best done the night before. But why is that important? Well, it helps people know what to expect the next day. And if you kind of know what to expect and you follow that, you get less anxious, and a lot of people report less addiction with it, or less impulsivity. One study even showed this with children that had a high family routine showed less impulsivity and less ODD per one study. Also, if you set your routine more towards the daytime routine, you tend to have a better sleep cycle. And that helps with mania, people that are suffering from bipolar. That helps with drug abuse, because a lot of times we go through addiction because we're impulsive.
Right. And I see this all the time. And a lot of the people out there who are successful, they talk about their routine, the morning routine that they do. It's structured, it's predictable, it helps set them up for success. It helps set the stage for them to be able to accomplish their goals because their directions are defined. And we see that all the time, the importance of a morning routine to set up your day. I mean, it sets the stage.
It does. And that's why in the military, the first thing they make you do is make your bed.
Right. Yeah.
Set up that daily routine. And they're doing that because they know that helps people be productive, and they know what to expect for the day. Okay, I know what to expect. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get up, make my bed, brush my teeth, That helps them feel less anxious.
And I was going to add to that when we have that predictability, especially when we're trying to start recovery and addiction has really taken a lot of control of our life, having a simple routine defined helps you stay within that structure that's positive for you. But if you don't define a routine and you just kind of go with whatever your gut is telling you in the moment, most of the time that's not going to get you where you want to go in the long term. Sometimes we have all the chaos of addiction, and if we're just listening to our emotions and just responding to the moment, we're not being strategic. We're not actually really thinking about what we're trying to create in our life. And a routine helps us do that.
Yeah, you'll have less likely to relapse if you have a routine, because you'll get anxious if you don't have a routine, and then sometimes we medicate to get rid of that anxiety. We noticed this huge with COVID.
Right.
When we had the pandemic and everybody shut down, it changed a lot of our routines, which made a lot lot more people have anxiety and depression and alcohol abuse.
Right. Yeah. They've been able to show that because, now the structure of our life is gone. And I kind of believe like our brain likes a certain amount of structure because it helps the brain
Mhm.
feel safe. It helps the brain know what's coming. Doesn't mean we don't want some variety in there, but a base routine that actually
Yeah.
is created that allows spontaneity in the routine is, I think, where we really function the best.
Yes, yeah. And that kind of leads us to some of the myths. I mean, we know routine is important, so let's kind of talk about the myths. The one myth that really affected me the most is that if you have a routine, it means your life is going to be monotonous and boring and dull, or you're a dull person. And that's something I struggled with personally. Like I viewed myself as a spontaneous, person, and so I couldn't have a routine. And then once in my recovery and just getting healthier, I created a routine. I found out I'm actually more spontaneous. It's counterintuitive.
Right.
Now that I have a routine, I actually free up time to be creative. So that is a total myth. If you're a spontaneous person, create a routine, you'll get more stuff and you'll have more spontaneity in your life.
That's awesome.
It's kind of funny that
Yeah,
way.
that's kind of how some of these things are like counterintuitive, but yet they
Yeah.
actually work out in the long run. One of the things that really also stopped me is that I felt this had to be overwhelmingly complex. Like I had to create this complex routine that was
Mhm.
going to build this all out. And one of the things that you also showed me is that some of these routines just start very small in the beginning. We don't have to start like with this big routine that's like, okay, everything is absolutely planned out. It doesn't have to be a complex process.
No.
And when we kind of sit there, what I would find is trying to make it complex and overthink it. I just procrastinated more and wasted more time. So as I've incorporated like a morning routine in my life, like you said, it actually gives me more freedom. It's kind of weird how that works, but it feels
Yeah.
a lot better. It doesn't have to be super complex, but it does have to be structured.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that you said that because complexity, it's not, the more simple you make it, the better it is.
Yeah.
So simple, simple, simple. You'll get more out of it. The other thing that we always hear a lot is, routine has to be all business. If I set a routine, it's see clients, do pay bills, That's not actually true. And there's actually some philosophies out there, like there's the unscheduling
Right.
idea where you put down the things that you want to do first. Like, let's say I want to go see a movie with friends. I actually put that in my routine and then I schedule around that and create a routine. Now, there's all kinds of different ways. I mean, if you're busy at work all the time, there's ways to create, a routine at that. But it doesn't have to be all business. It's personal, it's fun, it can be enjoyable, and it can be flexible too, right? We don't have to get rigid with it.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people get stuck too. I know where I would get stuck. It's like, oh, I didn't do the routine perfectly. And what I've learned to do is to be flexible in that. It doesn't have to be perfect every single time. And to allow myself to have some flexibility in there actually keeps me more in doing a routine by allowing some of that flexibility and not having to be perfect about it. That's my own perfectionism, but and my own stuff that I have to work on. But it's allowed me to keep the routine and kind of bend and have fun times in those routines as well. So yeah, I agree. It's not all business.
Yeah, and it does, and I love that you said that. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like if you don't meet your routine exactly how you said that, that's okay,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Reschedule it, move a meeting a little bit, it's going to work out. The idea is that you want to think about it the night before and kind of think about what do I want to get done? What was my day going to look like tomorrow? And that pre-planning actually helps the routine and helps us feel calmer
Yeah.
because we kind of know what to expect, right? Which then helps with emotional stability. So it helps a lot with routine. And I would recommend, we were talking about in recovery, I would start setting a routine as soon as you can. I mean, obviously, if you're in early stages of recovery, like you're still going through withdrawals and stuff like that, it's going to be hard to set a routine right then. But after you get through that stage, I would say early stages of recovery, start setting a simple routine, just a morning habit kind of thing.
Yep.
This is what I'm going to do, or I'm going to reflect the night before the next day. And mid recovery, this is great too. This also, like you said, I think earlier, it helps in long-term recovery as well.
Right.
Right. It helps us be more stable.
Yeah, and it helps calm the chaos of our lives, and a lot of us who have trauma in our history, and we're kind of a little bit over influenced by our emotions and impulsive, and so kind of helping us kind of calm that chaos and get structure really helps us once again go in the direction we really want to go for long-term wellness.
Yeah.
So in setting routines, sometimes we bump into problems and we bump into roadblocks. And so one of them is like negative self-talk and self-doubt. Negative thoughts can undermine your confidence in maintaining a stable routine, so really cultivate some self-compassion, challenge that negative self-talk, focus on the progress you've made, and remind yourself that setbacks are natural. Like I said earlier, you don't have to do this perfectly. Just a small, simple morning routine can have a huge impact on your daily life.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that. That stems off of our other podcast about negative narratives and setting up self-talk. So listen to that, because that will help set a routine as well. So I'm glad that you talked about that, because that does affect that. Now, one of the roadblocks that we see, and we kind of mentioned this, is the lack of adaptability, meaning that don't be too rigid, like we talked about. Your routine can be a routine and still be slightly flexible. If something emergency pops in there, well, okay, that pops in there, and don't beat yourself up about it. So you adopt a system that is adaptable and flexible for your routine. That will help you tremendously.
Yeah, and that goes into the next kind of roadblock we see a lot, is that burnout and overcommitment, because I've done that before, where I've been so rigid with the routine and kept it so structured that I would just burn out, and I would just all fall away. And I found that as I've given myself permission to be a little less rigid about it and be kind to myself if I don't follow the routine perfectly, I've actually been way more successful at keeping the routine. I don't feel that burnout. I don't feel that overcommitment. It helps me kind of keep staying on course. And I've kind of realized I don't need to stay perfectly on course.
Yeah, it changes your mindset to almost looking forward to setting a routine the next day. If you're not so rigid about it, it changes it to enjoyable. This actually calms me down because I get to think about the next day ahead of time. So that's huge. Don't be overcommitted. Don't be so rigid with setting a routine. The last one that I would talk about is the lack of accountability. It helps to have a little bit of accountability there.
Yeah.
Right? So you can talk to a friend or a family member or a support group. I know for individuals that are suffering from like bipolar, a routine is very important. So family members will help keep them accountable on their routine, especially their daytime routine, so they can keep their sleep cycle. Because once their sleep cycle gets messed up, they usually have a manic or hypomanic episode. So having someone or a software to keep you accountable that doesn't make you feel overcommitted or burnt out is a great way to help continue with creating a routine.
Yeah, even like a journal or something that you can kind of track your routine and your success. Once again, not being so rigid, but just kind of seeing where you're going. And sharing it with trusted others. Tell other people what your routine is. Talk to other people. Other people want to support you. There's a ton of support out there. So
yeah.
All right, it looks like we're coming up on our time. Remember, every journey begins with a small step, and that is what we are providing you with today. One small, simple step for your recovery. If you found this helpful and want more on the topic, we've put together an ebook with some simple steps you can take in creating a routine for yourself to increase your emotional well-being and your recovery. It's called Stability Routine for Early Recovery, Transforming Chaos into a Safe Daily Routine. So you can get that by clicking the link in the show notes. And don't forget to join us this Friday for the deeper dive into this episode. You can go to theaddictedmind.com/plus and register. There we will have an open Q&A and discuss this episode in depth and answer all of your questions. Hope to see you there. And lastly, if you want more information or you want something from us that would be helpful for you in your recovery journey, reach out to us. You can find us on Instagram at Addicted Mind or join our Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, type in the Addicted Mind podcast, and click join. All right. Once again, everyone, thank you for listening. We appreciate all of you.
Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you for tuning into the Addicted Mind Plus. We hope today's episode has brought you valuable insights and a small step to support your journey in recovery, mental health, and wellness. For more information about this episode and additional resources, please visit our website at theaddictedmind.com/plus. And if there's a topic you're eager to hear about or a question you'd like us to explore, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at theaddictedmind.com and let us know your thoughts. Your journey is important, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, take care and keep stepping forward on your path to wellness.